Hey Sharon, how's it going?
Good.
I was just going through that email we discussed recently, and I noticed that you said that, or the email said that a desirable property now will always be a desirable property, and I wanted to talk about that because I was wondering, like, you always hear about, up and coming neighborhoods and things like that, and it's like, well, what is it that makes a property particularly desirable, and could that not change? Like, people buy a condo and then a year later they're building another condo that blocks your sight line or whatever, so now you no longer have that view of the lake or something like that. So I was wondering if you could expand on that a little bit.
Mm, sure, sure. So yes, if there are, when you are buying a pre-construction condo in particular, there's certainly things you need to look at and dig a little deeper into what the city has approved for future development, because they take these 25-year gaps and they put these plans in for a 25-year period. So really do your due diligence anytime you're buying pre-construction, especially condos, because there can be other things built around you. There can be things that would obstruct your view, and we have seen court cases over that. On the plus side, they will still have a condo. They will still have it in a desirable location. There will still actually be a demand for it, because that part won't change. They will still have the same proximity for transit, for amenities, walkability scores, being able to cycle. There will still be a certain distance to the next park or the waterfront or whatever. So they won't lose any of those benefits. So there are many, many aspects. And I will say, yeah, I'm not glossing over that for the condos. That is a very serious situation, and they've had court cases over it. That's beyond my scope. However, all the other things will remain in place. And I think
Oh,
that also goes for when a property is hot. If you look at 8 months ago, we've had bids on properties in areas that you and I know we couldn't get insurance on, that there were no lenders that would insure them. I
mm,
don't know what they did with those properties, but before it was really hot, not only would no one not bid on that property, they wouldn't think of putting an offer. And if they did put an offer, they had to go in with at least 20 to 25% of it in cash. Some of them are 50% in cash if the area is really bad, in order to get financing on it.
mm.
Did that change during the bidding process? No, it did not. That property still was in the same location. That property was still in an undesirable location because of usually crime, but not always. Sometimes it's just that there were condo developments that did not manage their funds properly, or there was some kind of activity, or they didn't prepare for some major event in the buildings, and the infrastructure had to be urgently addressed, and now all of a sudden the maintenance fee is up to $1,600 a month instead of 400. And yes, we've seen that. These are real numbers,
Yeah.
right? This is real.
I'm currently dealing with a client that special assessment for I think it was about $16,000.
Yeah,
It's and yeah, I mean it's very difficult to like a lender will just say no if you're buying a property and there's not sufficient maintenance reserves. It's not actually the lender, it's the insurer. Like
it's the insurer.
CMHC
That's exactly right.
will just say no, you can't. So that's why it's so important. I can't stress it enough that when people go, and you're very good at making sure, but that there's a condition of finance, because
Yeah,
even though, usually when I'm working with one of your clients, we've, already done the pre-approval, done
yes,
all the due
yeah.
diligence, looked at all the paperwork to make sure everything's in order. So there's no last minute
We do a
surprises.
lot of work behind the
Uh,
scenes for our clients. We do. Yeah.
oh, for sure. But we're not omniscient. We don't know what property they're looking at when I'm doing that
Yeah.
pre-approval.
Yeah.
So I can get the client approved, but the property that they're buying, they still need that condition of finance.
Yeah.
Because if you go in and you don't have that condition and you can't close because you can't get financing, well, now you've got that legal liability. Anyway, sorry, I digress.
Yeah, yeah, no, that is very true. So it reinforces the point that a property that is desirable now will be desirable later.